Here's the question, right? When you had this team with NiKo, like you said, the success you had was amazing. In fact, here's the thing. I would get it if the people that thought you weren't that good was Olaf. He's won all the majors, mate. He's been in a better team. If it was Guardian's been in some pretty good teams. Like Zeus is a very good leader. Like I'd get those players, right? The reason why it shocks me that like NiKo's one of the ones that like wasn't a fan. And in fact, quite recently, did that video with Rivalry where, no, we were both apparently overrated, mate. I was in that video, bizarrely. So when they said Karrigan, right, I even think NiKo, here's what people don't know about NiKo is, he's not actually a liar at all. He does tell the truth. Like, for example, I genuinely believe he does want to win. I think he even thinks what he's doing is the right way to win. The point is, I disagree. And so I think, he's misguided. That's the way you'd say it in English, And so here's the problem, right? When they said you and that, they said Karrigan, and you're supposed to say overrated or underrated, and obviously you don't give a massive reason why, it's a quick show, right? If he actually was a guy like Fallen who knows how to play PR, the correct answer should be underrated, and if you give anything, you just say what the people want to hear, like you say, underrated, I actually didn't know, like back then, how good he was, I've learned a lot from then, and but it just wasn't the right time. That's how you would say it, like if you're a football player, a very professional way. But when he said you were overrated, mate, I almost flipped the fucking desk over, because I just thought to myself, you haven't even played with any other great in-game leaders. So overrated compared to what? Like I remember there was once a story where someone went up, a newspaper guy, and he said to a politician, like, how are you and your wife doing? And the guy just said, compared to what? And it's like, that's the point. Like, what are you comparing to? So on this angle, right, here's the thing. You've done the right angle, mate, to be nice. Every interview I've ever seen you do since you left FaZe Clan, you've gone out of your way not to say NiKo was at fault or blame him or they should have trusted him. You've just tried to make it like you said here. Like you understand the situation. It was years ago. You learned from that. Obviously, you made your own mistakes. That were part of it. You've always owned that. But what do you think it is that they didn't get? Like, what does NiKo not understand about what Karrigan, the in-game leader, was?
I mean, there's more to it, right? Because obviously I was in my best shape in that last few months, and I think also NiKo kind of mentioned that I was overrated in the end of phase. But I also feel like Guardian made the same point in another video that they didn't help me either, right? Sometimes a player has a slump or in-game leader has a slump. You make everything sure that player is feeling comfortable again, right? And I wasn't getting any help from the teammates back then. It was just like I had to recover myself. And that was after a long period where I had to make new strats, new playbooks, new stuff. I was getting burned out, honestly. Because I didn't know. One day I was happy it was coming back. Next day I'm just like so sad it's not back. We have to keep playing with Chroman for one of the big tournaments in the world, Cologne, right? Suddenly, and we make semifinal up and down, we win a match, somehow we win it, then we lose full tilt again, It's a roller coaster instead of like a future with the team. And I think at that moment, I also couldn't work as hard as I normally do. Normally, I would work 10 to 12, 13 hours a day. I live CS. But at a moment where you don't see a future in a team or you don't see yourself finding yourself, you think to yourself, okay, I need to work less because I need to recover. I need to find myself. I need to be happy every morning I'm waking up. Because right at that moment, I wasn't happy playing. I wasn't happy training because we couldn't improve as a team. So yeah, my in-game leading dropped off, but everybody else dropped off and we did as well. So it was more like, it felt like in the end, everybody else in the team did everything they could to become the best, but I slacked. And I completely disagree. I think everybody slacked. Nobody helped each other to perform better, right? And I mean, there was just so many scenarios where it didn't feel like a team anymore. We were discussing stupid shit like somebody's not playing enough, that's why he only has 10 frags and that's not good enough. I'm like, well, chill, bro. Everybody can have a bad day. It doesn't really matter if you played yesterday 2 hours or 1 hour. It won't affect you when you're at a tournament. We are so experienced that if you only play 50 hours per 2 weeks or you play 60, it doesn't matter in the end. It's about how you perform as a team. And I felt like it was blaming on small stuff, and it didn't feel like a unit anymore at that moment. So, like I said, I think I didn't work hard enough in the end, but I also think you should give me the goodwill and kind of see like, okay, nobody worked hard enough in FaZe Clan in the end. And therefore I should not be overrated, because I still feel like if I'm overrated, how can I beat them with a lesser team constantly?
Yeah, if people don't know, I did a video on this. When Karrigan left, because people might not know this, even though, listen, the Astralis one, obviously overall they won that because they won all the fucking majors. Like, you can't say they didn't on that one. But head to head, people might not know this. Karrigan basically has beaten his former teams like almost every time he's played them. He's lost very rarely. So he beat the Prime Astralis. The FaZe Clan one's the most ridiculous one because when he had mouse spots, we're talking, by the way, before they became good at the end of last year and all the finals, they were still beating FaZe Clan. They beat him in like EPL, I think Cologne maybe, like a couple of times they beat him, even knocked them out of tournaments. Then when they became super good, the mouse team, they went to the top of the rankings. Like, yeah, that's another reason why I don't get why all these years later they wouldn't come to that realization. Because think about this, right? Yeah, mouse sports at the end of the year was like top 2 ranked or whatever, but you came from like, I think you were like 15th or something, you know, you were way down the rankings, you weren't winning tournaments. So if I can beat you with what you wouldn't, like put it this way, if I went before you joined mouse sports and I say to NiKo, fucking Olaf Meister, Guardian, do you guys want to recruit fucking Frozen and Chris J to join the team? They're not going to say, oh yeah, let's get him in now. So like, how can you then lose to those players and not think, there must be something else going on here. Like, they haven't just gotten 10 times better overnight, have they? Like, this is why players, I always say this to people, you got to take player opinions with a grain of salt unless they're the in-game leader. Because the in-game leader is the only one who properly studies the demo and looks what happened. He doesn't just look who did the kill. He looks, how did that guy get in that position? What did we do? What did the other team do wrong? Like, he knows what the game does because he looks at it like an analyst. The player has his own little vision of the game. He has his own little highlight reel he runs in his mind of what went right, what went wrong, and that can be, it's not that it's wrong, it's just they can only see from their position, as it were.